We are back for another week. Another week. You know what? We paused this the first time around, right? Just because the opening of the new gym in Bridgeport, a lot of things, taking place in our lives, grandchildren coming into play, all that kind of stuff. And then we kicked it back off. We're on our 22nd episode of this second time around.
Hmm,
It's pretty cool.
pretty cool.
It is pretty cool. And we've got more people listening than we had the last time. So I think we're doing all right. But we also got Kayla. We also got people watching, and I'm just why do you do this to me? I mean, you set me up. I mean, right? You come on, right? And you're just jacked. You're all sweaty. You just got done with a workout, and I look like I haven't worked out in 2 weeks.
Yeah, well, my schedule is jam-packed today, and I was trying to figure out where I would fit my run in, and the only time was right before this. So I literally went down to the basement, ran on the treadmill for the last hour, and then 2 minutes ago got sat in the seat. My shirt is soaked. I'm
Yeah,
soaked.
it
So
is. So, and for those of you listening, now is the time to just make a note that you just want to go check out YouTube and see what this mess looks like. But it's funny because when we got on, he goes, "Boy, I just hope people don't tune into YouTube." And so I thought, well, how can I have fun with this? And now I think I've got more people going to go to YouTube just to check out how sweaty you look today and jacked you look. And so I'm glad to do that.
well, thank you for that.
Yeah. So I didn't actually sabotage this episode. I kind of maybe inspired people to listen to it. And our topic today that we want to really dive into a little bit, because the last couple of weeks we've talked about why programming is what it is, why we do certain things throughout the workout, in the sequence that we do it to help people understand why we're doing what we're doing. But in many cases, right? In many cases, our brain takes over and our emotions and thoughts take over, and we can tend to self-sabotage our fitness and our nutrition. And that was a topic you came up with. I thought it was really good, a good topic to discuss. So today we're just going to kind of walk through that. How or what are different ways that we have the tendency to self-sabotage. Now, Kayla, I'll be just totally upfront. I think I've had a tendency to do that in fitness and nutrition. Doesn't I can't really connect the dots with you. You seem like you're always so much in control of this. I mean, have you ever had thoughts like this yourself?
Yeah, just last week.
Okay.
Um, and I think that's kind of what sparked it because I kind of had um, I don't know what, like an awakening last week. And, I think mine's a little bit different, but it's still the same. It's just on the other side of, like a lot of the topics that I thought about with clients and that I hear from clients, a lot of it's fear based, like afraid of something, so they sabotage. I think mine comes from it's not about not doing stuff. It's about continuing to do stuff when I shouldn't, maybe.
Mm.
So it was just like everything last week was a shit show. It was just uh, um, like there was kind of um, like that hype for the event of the triathlon, and then it didn't happen. But I've been training for it like it was going to happen. And then usually afterwards, you get a week of like deload. But in my brain, since I didn't race, I don't get a deload. But in theory, I probably still should have. So Monday morning, I like back at it. Hell, the weekend, I'm like biking, running, like while we're camping, doing stuff because my brain couldn't grasp that I needed a break
Mm.
until I did a run on Monday and it sucked. Did a swim on Tuesday, and I was like, that was like the first time that I just flat out dreaded a workout. Like, I don't want to do it. I don't want to be here. This is miserable. And so that's when I just thought, what am I doing? I'm sabotaging what I'm working for, because in my brain, I was fearful if I stopped, I wasn't going to get better. I was going to get worse. I was
You're gonna
going to
lose what you yeah,
fail. I was going to lose what I built.
in 1 week.
And yeah, and it is crazy to think about. But so I stepped back and took a day, and then I ended up taking like 3 days completely off. Then did one day, I mean, off. I walked the dogs, did that kind of stuff. Did a little bike on Saturday just to get back. So, um, that's an example of, in my brain, it was like fear based of I would be sabotaging basically what I worked for if I keep going. And that's what I was doing for the first 2 days of the week. Um, but stepped back, thought about it, and was like, no, the best thing for me right now is to like regroup, like just get my shit together, get my brain right, get my body feeling good, and then I still have a month. So that
Yeah.
was, yeah.
Yeah, and I think similarly, but different, right? I mean, I kinda had that, I guess, epiphany or, um I've always had the mindset whether I've got nagging injuries, and they're not nagging injuries, nagging pain, something that disrupts my ability to finish a workout, start a workout. And my brain, I'm sitting there, boy, I don't really want to go through that. Yesterday I began to work out and my shoulders just did not want to do a dang thing. Not a dang thing. 2 weeks ago, running my triathlon that was scheduled and did go through because we didn't have the weather. But my knees did not want to allow me to run. And my thought was, well, I'm just going to fight through it. All right. I'm going to self-sabotage me by saying, just fight through it. Just get through it. You're okay. You can do it. And I really, last week I just said, I think I need to change. I think I need to focus on just more of a rehab type of and strength, not a barbell strengthening workout, but just some exercises that can just really go after the root causes of what's causing the pain so I can, because I think what I'm doing is I'm just making it worse. I'm not making it better. I don't know if is that,
Well,
so
it's funny because I feel like I told you that same exact thing a
you
couple
did two
times.
weeks ago, and that was a podcast.
I feel like I told you that a long time ago too,
Oh,
like
yes,
when
you
this
did.
happened the last time. And that's where I feel like this plays a role in it. Is I do think that you have the mindset of pushing through, but I also think you have a fear base around it of potential. And I'm just like spitting off thoughts here because I know you. It's like potentially you're afraid of, you don't know what to do. So it's like, well, I know how to like dumbbell bench press. I know how to do this stuff. What am I going to do in my workouts? What do my days look like if I'm working on my like shoulder range of motion? What's that look like? Or my knees, like what am I doing to help my knees? All I know, it's you know what you know and you don't know what you don't know, or whatever that phrase
I
is. And I
yeah,
think it might fall into that category a little bit too, is like, I'm afraid of what that looks like. So I'm just going to keep doing what I've been doing because I know that. Like, I know that it hurts. I know I can get through it, but I don't know what it looks like on the other side. Or will it not work? And then I'm scared that I'm back in the same boat. Right. And I think
yeah,
that's a lot of it too.
I do. I 100% agree. I mean, I look at it more like maybe confusion, and what I mean by confusion is there's part of me that knows this is probably the best thing for me to do, but then, like you just said, if it doesn't work, then I am not stronger to do what I want to do. And but I've never given it a shot. Okay, I've really never given it truly a shot. Like to say 8 weeks, I'm not going to do the things I really want to do that I know that I'm just going to trust the process and work. So let's talk through some of these things if it's all right. Get off of you and
Yep.
I
I'm
and
gonna
maybe
pull the
talk.
notes up. I got my notes up.
All right. I got my notes printed out. All right. See, there we go. There's, old school printed out. You got your little technology on the phone. All right. The problem is my eyes wouldn't be able to read that little tiny phone. So I got to printed out in big print. But so, well, and this kind of maybe, it doesn't go back to 100% of this, but I think you joked about it in our conversation about that. But how about this? We tend to self sabotage when the goal truly isn't ours.
Mhm.
It might be inspired or someone else maybe planted a seed that this would be good for you. You should be doing this, and you kind of you say, okay, makes sense. I'll buy in, but I'm not 100% bought in. What are your
Mhm.
thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I see this. I've seen this. I think this is top. That's why I thought about it as number one, is because I've seen it with several clients. I've seen it potentially with myself. I've seen it with you. And so I think that this needed to be addressed, meaning, um, people commit to something or they think they want to do something, maybe because someone else is doing it, potentially because they used to do it, and so they think they still want to do it. They see things on social media. That's a big one. Is like, oh, well, this person did this, so I should do this. They got results. They have fun. They whatever. So they think. But then when it comes time to actually do the work to do that thing, it's not fun, or they completely like neglect it. Like I've seen that recently. Is someone says they want to do something, you speak to them face to face, and they're all in, but then you put the workouts in to lead to that end goal or that end event, and none of the work gets done. And it's like, well, is this what you want to do or no? Like, it doesn't matter. Like, if you don't want to do it, don't do it. You don't have to. Nobody, I'm not making you do it. Like, not you, but this is a
Yeah,
different person.
yeah.
But it's like, if you don't want to do it, don't do it. Like, there's a million different ways to do fitness, there's a million different events. Like, figure it out, figure out what it is that you want to do. Because in my brain, it's not this thing that we said and we set the goal for, because you're not doing any of the work to get there. And if you wanted to actually do it, you would do the work to get there.
Yeah, and I think that's how we as coaches can help someone and really ask. You've talked about this, or we've talked about this on previous, that 7 levels deep, and just keep asking questions, because I think sometimes, well, people will say they will do something if everything aligns perfectly. If this happens, if work is perfect, if the kids and the family and the spouses and the partners, hey, allow me the time to do this. If everything is perfect, I will do it. The minute something comes up, the minute something interferes with that, it's like, boom, I just don't have the time, or I wasn't able to do it. And so really helping people understand, is this truly something you want, that you desperately want, that you want to achieve, or would it be nice if it happened? And I think sometimes we get people to the point of, it'll be nice if it happens. And when we get nice if it happens, we get inconsistency. We get, I'll do it if it's convenient. And I won't fight through those moments of uncertainty. I won't fight through those moments of doubt. I won't fight through it. I'm gonna I'm gonna fall back to what I know. And this is who I am. And so you talk about the next one, it's kind of, this is who I am. What about the change of identity? I mean, how does that play into this process? If this might change who I am. I might lose my friends. I might lose my peer group. I might lose. We go to what we might lose instead of what we might gain. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, um, you see this a lot. Is like with people that maybe have had one identity or perception for a long time, and taking on a new challenge, a new goal, a new lifestyle, may change that identity. An extreme example, if you're a partier and you go out with your friends and you're drinking every weekend and you're like living life up, whatever, then if you're changing for a major, start training for a major fitness event, that changes. And sometimes I think people are scared, like, to lose those, like you said, lose those friends. Am I going to lose my friends if I can't go out on the boat and drink all day Saturday because I have to do a 3 hour bike ride? Or is my, like, this is another, is my partner or my spouse who really isn't into fitness, and are they going to look at me differently because now I am? And I see it's, I see that I've seen that with several people here recently. I just had a call yesterday that it was like, like, I'm just not sure. Like, my husband and I like to go out. We spend time at the bar on Saturdays down by the lake, and we do this and that. And like, I'm just not sure if I commit to this, if that's how it's going to work. And I'm like, well, you just, like, in my brain, I'm thinking, if that's what you want, you commit to what you want, right? Like, people that love you will support you and and want you to do the things that are going to make you better. But I think that's a big one. Or just people are just afraid. The same thing. Maybe it has nothing to do with other people. Maybe it has to do with you yourself are afraid of it. Meaning, you know what it's like to. I'm not to throw anyone under the bus, but Lauren wouldn't care because we've talked about this. Is like, she had a lifestyle before me that was much different than what she has now. And sometimes, I mean, obviously it's changed because it's been a lot of years now. But she knew what it was like to wake up Sunday morning and be super hungover, lay around the house all day because you can't function because you drank your face off all day Saturday. And that was like on repeat in her life for years, And so it was almost like I had to convince her that it was okay not to do that. Like, it's like, we don't have to have Saturday nights like that. Maybe every once in a while we do, but Sundays aren't just for laying around the house, sleeping, watching movies, whatever. And so it was like, to get her to change that mindset of like, no, this is what I know, this is how I live, this is who I am. To change of like, it's okay to go for a run on a Sunday morning now. It was just like she was scared because it's like, well, who am I? I've known this life for so long. What does this mean if this is what I do now?
Yeah. I'm with you just 100%. I mean, with Lauren, I mean, just so I'm going to skip around a little bit. I mean, as far as our notes go, because I think because you use the word known, and in our notes we're going to talk about, part of why we might self-sabotage our fitness and our nutrition is fear of the unknown. Okay, not knowing what to do, but I would challenge that it can go both ways, just based on even your comment, just what you do know. Okay, because there's the fear of the known and there's also the fear of the unknown. And if I make this change, this means I've got to do this, this, and this, and I don't know if I'm ready to do this, this, and this, and then the fear of the unknown. Well, I do want to change. I want to make these changes in my nutrition. I want to make these changes in my fitness, but I just don't know. I don't know. I mean, how's that going to impact the rest of my life? Talk to me about, the fear of either the known or the unknown, and how that might impact our decision making towards our fitness and nutrition.
Yeah. So I look at it as, um, so if you are afraid to start something or you're afraid to work towards a goal, if you don't do it, you have an outcome, stay the same. If you do it and you fail, it's the same outcome. So it doesn't really matter. Like, if you fail, you're right back to where you are. So it's like, but if you don't try it, if you don't try it, there's 100% chance that nothing changes.
That's right.
If you try it, there's at least a 50% chance that something changes and something could get better. If not, you fail and you're right back to where you were, and who cares? It's the same thing. So it's like, in my brain, I like the odds of a 50% chance than a 0% chance, right? In my brain, that's right. It's like, well, there's a 50% chance this could change my life. This could be fun. This could be like a new adventure for me. That's more thrilling than to be like, yeah, well, I'm afraid to change, so I'm just going to stay exact. Because then there's no chance that you're going to change. So I just feel like, why the hell not? It's like it's a bet. It's like, there's two options. You have 0% chance that you could win $1 million, or you could have 50% chance that you win $1 million. Pick one. And it's like, who in their right mind would pick zero?
That's right. Right. But will it cost me $50,000 to win that million, or will it cost me $5? Right. So there's that level of security that people want. And but I'm also gonna say this is, and this is where I'll do a commercial for us, or for coaches, because I think there's evidence within a person, maybe in their past, and maybe they've started stopped something, started stop. So when they're trying to make a decision, maybe in their 40s or 50s, what they're relying on is the evidence of the past, and the evidence of the past proves more so that they're going to probably stop, right? They're going to have this roller coaster. But when you add a coach, when you add someone that's going to help you, guide you, hold you accountable, I think that those odds go up more than 50%, right? So I think when people are making decisions, they will tend to this. And here is where the known comes in: the fear of the known. I know me. I know I'm going to fail because of the evidence of the past. But what they don't have, and this is where I think having someone come alongside you, even if it's just you know, maybe you use your spouse, your partner, right? Maybe you use them and just say, "Hey, ask me if I went and worked out today. Ask me if I, you know, reached for the vegetables right in the fridge rather than the chips in the cupboard. Ask me that. Hold me accountable." I think those are some things that we can add into this equation that will help them with the known and the unknown, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, I agree.
But here's an old quote, all right? But here's the other thing. I want to just pause here for a second, because when you brought this up to me, and you just talked about, you know, just this kind of fear, and this kind of fear of failure, and not doing it as opposed to failing, same outcome. I just started thinking about this last weekend when I was in Williamsburg, and I was with my 2-year-old granddaughter. And it's interesting. I think if we can adopt more of a just a mindset of a child, truly just a child. The childs don't know that they're going to fail. They just do things. They just grab things and go. They have no idea. But what was really neat is we were sitting down, we were doing a puzzle, and we were doing it together. And she went after it, right? She just literally 2 years old. She just went after it, and then she got stuck. But she didn't. She did not go after it. She grabbed the puzzle and said, "I can do this." She didn't know she couldn't do it yet. But what was interesting is when she couldn't do it, she would just hand me the little piece and said, "You do it." And then she handed me another and goes, "You do it." But here was the thing. She didn't just hand it and told me to do it for her. She watched.
Hmm.
She watched how I did it. And then she took it out and did it herself. So boy, if we could just as adopt this more of this childlike mindset that anything is possible. They don't know yet. Kids don't know that they can't do something, but yet time, experience have taught us as adults that, well, not everything is going to go the way we want. And when it does, okay, Kayla, when it does go well, all right, it reminds me of another quote from Marianne Williamson, and it's just, our oh, what is it? It's our fear is not our darkness, our fear is our light. Because when we do succeed, we've got a we got a choice to make then, right? We have fear of success as well, don't we?
Yeah, I just, I don't think a lot of people think about this, and I think, um, you know, like we have a lot of clients. I would say one of my snags last week when I'm looking through my client roster is compliance rate, and that's that's a lot of the frustration in the coaching world is just getting people to commit and start. But I had a conversation yesterday that's on the opposite side of that. Is like a client that's super committed, who is like all in, 100% compliance, has done a whole realm of things. And it was like, what is like the scariest part is like, what's next and how much time is that going to take? It's like I started here and then it grew and then it grew, and it's like stacking successes on top of each other. and then it's almost like, I don't know if I want this, because now it's almost like fear of keeping the success going, you know?
Mhm.
And sometimes I feel like I have that, is like, uh, you think about it and you do all these things, and this could be our clients in life too, you know? It's like, my gosh, everything I've done, I'm like super successful. If I start fitness, am I going to be like really successful, and this is going to take up a lot of time too? You know, I think that could be in the
Mhm.
brains of some people, is like, man, I'm just like, my family is great, my job is great, I'm like the most successful person, I do this, I do that. It's like, and then they become obsessed with whatever they do, and they're like the best at whatever they do, but their lives are already like jam packed, and they're like, but if I start fitness, now am I going to be obsessed and like overwhelmed with that and put the same effort in I put in everything else? um
And
you know,
will
I
it
don't
take away from the other things? Will
will it
I
take,
yeah.
yeah. And it's like, where am I going to fit it in? Like, how do I have time to do this? Because they're the type of people that they're very good at everything they do, and everything they do 100%. And sometimes when you're doing everything at 100%, like you said, something has to uh, go
Give.
down.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So something has
have to
to give.
give. um, which is interesting, you know, because we don't. I hadn't, until I had that conversation yesterday. Really, I hadn't really thought about it, and I'm like, that is like a valid fear to have. Is like, what's next, and how much time is that going to take? How much energy is that going to take?
Yeah, well, I would argue that I would really, I would just have a person sit in that thought for a little bit and really think about it and just say, well, I have a way of doing things right. I have experience. I have done and made a lot of good choices in my life that have resulted in a great lifestyle and a great family and a great career. What's to say I can't do this too? I would challenge them on that. I would
Mm-hmm.
say, we'll figure this out. We will figure this out. We will do this the same way you've done everything else in your life. I got to imagine that when you got married and your career was moving forward, you didn't choose not to get married because you were afraid of your career. Then you had kids. You didn't choose not to have kids because you were afraid that we weren't going to be able to have a good marriage and a good career. You chose to do that, and you figured it out along the way. So I would argue that it's well, I think all of these things are irrational to a degree.
Mm-hmm.
I won't judge anyone that has these types of the emotions or feelings or thoughts because I have them myself all the time. It's just something I think we can work through, and if we really sit back and think about it, that I don't want to say we can have it all because we're going to talk about that all or nothing thought process here in a little bit. But you mentioned something earlier too, or just in this last kind of segment or topic, how long it's going to take, fear of, and we self-sabotage when we maybe put an expectation for something to happen and we give it a date. And then as we get into it, we find out maybe that date isn't hit and it's taking longer than we thought it would. How do you help someone kind of fight through that mindset so they don't choose things that would sabotage their progress so far?
Mm-hmm. I will. A good example, I think, is a typical client, right? Comes in, maybe they're close to 50 years old. Um, they're in the gym for 2 months, and they say, they're frustrated. Like, I haven't lost any weight. I just don't feel like I'm making progress, right? It's like 2 months, and you're 50 years old. I said, well, you know, how, when did the weight gain start? When did that, and it's like, well, about 20 years ago when I had kids. It's like, so it took you 20 years to get to where you are right now, but you want it to be reversed in 2 months.
Hmm.
And and I'm not gonna lie, I've said that to clients quite a few times. It's like, well, we're pretty good, but we're not miracle workers. Like, we can't reverse something, change something that has been in a work in progress for 20 years in 2 months. So potentially, it's going to take a little bit longer. you know? And I think, and then we see that all the time is like someone starts and they just want the immediate results. And instead of committing and sticking to like the long game, is they throw in the towel and they're like, I'm done. This isn't working. And it's like, well, it's not that it's not working. You just haven't given it enough time yet. Um, the same thing. That's like weight loss. The same thing is in fitness. It's like they commit to something. We see this all the time. People are really good at committing to something for a month. Like, I'll do it for a month. And then maybe things aren't really changing. And then it's like, well, it's not working. And it's like, well, but potentially everybody's different. Some people can see progress in a month. Some people, it might take them 3 months. It might take them a year. But I promise that it will work. Or if it's not working after 6 months, we don't see a glimmer of progress after 6 months, we will tweak it. Doesn't mean it's not working. Maybe in those first 6 months, you were building habits. Maybe you're building consistency. Maybe you're building confidence, things that are progress that don't show numerically. And so maybe that's the foundation needed. And at that 6 month mark, it's really going to take off because now you have those foundations in place. But I feel like a lot of people throw in the towel before they get there.
Yeah, it's, it is. We, it's right in front of us. It's one more step. It's one more rep. It's one more day, whatever it might be. And we always, it just always seems that we're right there. We're inches away. There's a book out there called 3 Feet from Gold about a guy that was mining for gold and quit. And the guy bought all his equipment and went into that same vein into the mountain and just turned left instead of right. And 3 feet from there, man, was the vein of gold. And I think sometimes we do. We don't give it enough time. And then our brain takes over and we just say, well, I've had enough. I've had enough. And we could be right there, and it could be 3 months. It could be 6 months. It could be, another day, so helping people kind of understand that, get through it, I think is really important on our part. But it, again, I think a lot of it just, it comes right back to, okay, my knees, my shoulders, and it's not about me right now, but it really took me to get to the point where I was so frustrated that I said, no more. I can't take this anymore. I want change. And the way I'm trying to get this change is not working. So I'm willing now. I'm willing now to do the things that I need to do to be able to do the bigger things that I want to do. So I don't want to just run these things. I really want to, I really, Cynthia and I were talking the other day, and she's, why do you want to do this? I said, because I do. I don't know what it is. And you talked earlier about maybe, social media or others, watching others do it like an idiot. I joined this Triathlons for Beginner group on on Facebook.
Facebook. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's like I'm watching all these people doing these things, and I'm looking at the shape they're in, or maybe, or just the fitness level that they are, and I'm going, God dang it, I'm better than that. And
Mm-hmm.
they're doing it and I'm not. And so I think we got it. We sometimes we almost have to hit rock bottom before we're willing, to make the changes and to commit to the time it's going to take. So, but that's kind of where where that all or nothing kind of thought process comes into my head, right? And it's, if I can't do what I need to do, I'm doing nothing.
Mm-hmm.
What good does that do anybody?
Yeah, not a whole lot. I mean, I think we've talked about this before on a podcast, but I do feel like it plays a role in this self-sabotage because um, I think people think, same in the gym, is there's this, like, I had this conversation last week with my business coach. And one of my frustrations I don't understand sometimes why people are paying me for coaching for a gym membership and then they're not coming. And so I continue every week, I make sure to those people, I reach out, I say, hey, how are you doing? Is everything okay? If it's like a one-off type thing, because usually, those people, something did happen, something came up. But if it's the same people over and over again, and I'm like, hey, like, I've noticed for the past 6 weeks. You haven't really gotten many workouts in. It's like, but I continue to check in. Um, but she kind of brought to my attention like that might be actually worse sometimes for the clients, because she's like, it's like you're holding a mirror up to them. Things that they're already ashamed of, or things that they're already like beating themselves up about, that you're telling them like, hey, I notice, you know. I think it could go either way. I think it's a matter of like, yes, there's an accountability piece, or it's like they're already down and beating themselves up for not showing up, and then I'm throwing it in their face week after week. Hey, you didn't get your work. So then that what happens is they're like, well, she knows, she's mad, she's upset, I let her down, I'm a failure, I'm just not going to go at all, and I'm not going to communicate, I'm not going to respond to her messages, I'm not stepping foot in that gym because I'm ashamed of myself, so I'm done. You're right. Um, and I don't know if that, my approach is good or bad. I think it could go either way. I've talked to a couple clients about this, how they feel about it, and I've had both sides of like, yeah, no, I like it when you reach out to me because it's a reminder. Some people are like, no, actually, I hate when I get that message because it makes me not want to come in more because I feel like you're mad at me or I let you down. So it could go either way. But that's where the sabotage comes in, is if they feel that way, like they let me down, instead of like facing the fear of, yeah, they got to come into the gym and they got to see me on the floor and I'm going to be like, hey, glad you glad you made it back in, right? They just are like, I'm not going to do that, so I'm not going in. I would rather continue to pay than have to deal with that feeling anymore. And that's where the all or nothing comes in. It's either I'm going and I'm having 100% compliance, or I'm not going at all.
Yeah. I can feel that, and I can understand that, and I can understand what your coach is saying. But I think we as coaches can also, approach it differently, and I know you do, right? I know you do. It's. I've got one client I'm thinking about right now, and I continue to reach out, and I just, how can I help? How can I help? And maybe even addressing it. Look, I know how you feel right now. You're not letting me down. You're not letting anybody else down. Okay. But I need to help you. And that's why I'm here. And that's what I'm going to continue to do as your coach. And when you're ready, I'll be here and we'll attack it again together. But I think it's a big thing. It's like, anything else in life too, right? I didn't have the best relationship with my parents, uh, that I would want, thinking back now, and they're gone. But I can remember days that, I would say to myself, I know I should call my mom. I know I should call my mom. Do I? No. Then another week goes by and another week goes by. And after every week goes by, it's harder to pick up that phone than if I just were to pick up that phone then. So it's a natural, it's a normal thing. All these things that we talked about today, Kayla, all of these things are just normal parts of life. And it's how we kind of work through these thoughts that we're having, and decisions and choices that we make. And that's where I do think we can really come alongside and just, and and at times you call me out at times when I'm not doing the things that I should be doing, but you know me, and you know that I can take that calling out, right? And but I think we as coaches, owe it to our clients to meet them where they are, but continually push. Uh, yeah, continually push. It's okay. Two wrongs don't make a right. Okay, so I'm going to challenge. Boy, I hope she's not listening. I'm going to challenge a little bit. uh, you know, the right thing to do is to call your client. The right thing to do is to ask how they're doing. The right thing to do is to challenge what the choices they're making right now as a coach. The wrong thing to do would be to avoid it.
Hmm.
So
Yeah. And I had said that too, is, and granted, this is like my own, mindset coaching, so if this
mhm,
is a topic that is constantly stressing me out and causing me overwhelm, then the goal is to get me to not be overwhelmed, right? She's not the coach of my client. She's the coach of me. So I'm the priority. So it's like, how can we get this? Just don't worry. Like, you know, uh, basically, she also says like parking spots, like maybe, she always says I choke hold my clients sometimes. She's like, you can't choke hold your clients into staying, into performing, into doing what you want. Sometimes you have to let them go. And what happens is then it frees a spot up that you for a client that you don't have to choke hold. So she always talks about like parking spaces, like freeing up. You can't park somewhere if there's a car already there. So not that, I know this is for our clients, but from my own standpoint, that's it. But I did say, my defense was I had a client once that, I mean, I swear, I don't think they came into the gym for 6 months, but paid me every single month. Every single week, I reached out and said, hey, is everything okay? How's life? I mean, it got to the point where I wouldn't even ask about fitness. It's like, how are the kids? How's the dog? Right? She ended up not being a client for a while, took a step back, no bad feelings. Like, it was like, yeah, you probably should have done this like 6 months ago because you've been paying me for 6 months to basically ask you about your family. But then she ended up coming back. And I'm like, listen, like, the last time you were here, you didn't come a whole lot. Like, are you sure this is what you want? She was like, no, I'm ready now. This is what, and I'm like, well, why are you coming back? Like, just, she said, because for 6 months, even though I didn't come in, you reached out to me every single week. And she's like, so it wasn't even, she's like, because I know if I'm ready to do fitness, I'm going to do it. And you're going to support me because you supported me even when I wasn't in the gym. And so I was like, huh, okay. So that was kind of my defense, coming back to my coach was, is like that message that I sent every week was like the one thing, but it was consistent for my client. She knew every single week I was going to message her. I was going to say, how are you doing? When maybe nothing else was going right. Nobody else was doing that. Life is a mess. She knew that I was going to do that every single week. And to her, that was worth paying her monthly membership just so she could have that consistency. So I don't think I'm going to stop doing it. I'm going to keep doing it, but
Yeah. And I think everybody's different, right? And everybody is going to, we walked through about 7 things, that maybe the goal isn't theirs. And we talked about the fear of change, fear of success. It's going to take longer than expected. We talked about maybe the fear of unknown, the unknown and known, right? How those work together. And then this all or nothing type of thinking. Every one of us is different. And each of us, depending on the situation, is going to respond differently. But I often think sometimes, and this is where it's not a commercial for us. But I think it's just really a request for our listeners out there. So much of what we do in life, oftentimes we just want to take on ourselves. We want to carry the entire burden, have all the answers, work through all of everything by ourselves. And I just think there is value to finding someone that you can trust, that will understand you, that will understand where you want to go in life, that no matter what the twists and turns might be throughout that journey, they will stay with you, support you, guide you. If they don't have the resource, they'll find the resource to help you. And so I would just kind of my wrap up, and I'll turn it over to you. Maybe wrap up is just stop trying to take on life all by yourself. It's really, really freaking hard.
yeah. And to touch on that too, like, um, I think, I think that this, um, like we talk a lot about like who you surround yourself with. Um, and I think some people get, it's like picking, like I coach basketball, right? And you don't pick you don't want 5 high school. I mean, maybe some people do, but you don't. I don't believe the best team has 5 high school All-Americans going to. You have to have utility players. You have to have a sixth man. You have to have a hype man. You have to have like a very good communicator. Like maybe he's not the best on the court, like shooting, but they do. You have to have like we always call them trash men. They just do the shit that doesn't show up on the stat sheet, right? That's what makes up the best starting five or best team. And when you look at the people around you, if you have all like hype men, right? Of like, yo, you got to do this, you got to do that, you got to do this. I don't think that's good. If you have a bunch of people that are coddling and they're like, it's okay, it's okay. I don't think that's good either because you don't reach your full potential. So I would say like choose the people, choose your people that are surrounding you wisely to help you elevate because you need them all. I think that if you don't have a person that makes you feel better and is nurturing and comforting, then that's you need that. If you don't have a person that's like pushing you and like trying to make you be better and trying to like do more things, you need to find one of those, right? Like you got to have a balance of those people.
Hmm. Love that. Board of directors. It's my board of
Board
directors.
of directors. I was thinking about like the '90s Bulls.
Okay.
Like you
Yeah.
have to have Michael, you have to have a Scotty,
You
and you
have to have
have
a
to have a
Steve Kerr.
Rodman. Yeah, and that like right? It's like if you had any of them by themselves, they're not that. I mean, yeah, maybe Michael was good by himself, but if you had any of the other ones by themselves, they aren't the best. It's when you like put them together that's like where the good stuff happens.
Yeah, I agree. And Michael, yeah, Michael would probably been as good as he ultimately was, no matter how many supporting people were around him. But the team itself probably would not have performed if it was just Michael. So having Scotty and Steve and Rodman and Cartwright and all the different people that were on those teams really helped tremendously. So awesome, great conversation today. I really liked it. I know we got more into the mindset, about around nutrition and fitness, but
We're so soft. That's somebody told me that yesterday. They said you're getting
ooh,
soft.
you're getting soft.
We are.
I've
I
always
had a
been
client.
soft.
I had a client say that to me in the gym yesterday. Actually, I kind of took it as a compliment. I was like, "Thank you."
Yeah, yeah, I'm evolving. Kayla is,
Yeah,
evolving, and but I think, well, if once people give you a chance and get to know you, they know that you're not this hard shell type of guy.
marshmallow.
Well, no, you're not a complete marshmallow either. Trust me. All right. But good. Great conversation. Really enjoyed it. And I bet you our audience did too. But I would be remiss if I didn't say this was great if you're listening, but there is
My
still
sweat's
sweat
dry
around the
now, I
neck
think.
of Kayla's shirt that you got to see, that you just got to go see. Go out to YouTube, even if it's just for 5 minutes, just check it out. All right.
All right.
Get
Thank you.
cleaned up, will you?
I will. I
All
will.
right. See you.
See you.